So let's just get it going.
All right, works for me.
Once again, welcome back.
Yes, here we are.
Going. Today we're drinking. This is the second episode of the night, so we are drinking from Art History Brewing. This is the Good Morning Munich beer. It's a Bavarian style Helles lager, and it's 5.2 alcohol by volume. So, a little history about they've been brewing since the 80s. The idea of art history has been brewing in the back of Tom Rau's mind since the early 1980s, when he began home brewing and trying traditional styles of beer at an old Amsterdam brew pub in Toronto, Ontario. From those early days, Tom was hooked. In the 1990s, Tom and his wife Cindy traveled to Europe to follow the writings of the famous beer hunter Michael Jackson. That's weird.
The beer hunter?
Yes, beer hunter.
The beer hunter, Michael
I can put it up on the screen here.
That's funny. It's called the beer hunter.
The famous beer hunter Michael Jackson, to immerse themselves in the history of brewing. 2018 to 2020, 2018, Tom traveled to Munich to study at Seibel World Brewing Academy and graduated with a diploma in international brewing technology. Upon graduating, he teamed up with Greg Brown.
Just Brown.
Brown. That's weird. Where together they brought those European experiences to Geneva, Illinois. Opened Art History Brewing in 2020. So we got a baby beer on our hands, and today we're drinking it.
Well, with head brewer Carolyn Stevens and Greg Brown at the helm, Art History Brewing delivers on a variety of craft beer styles, from traditional lager beer enthusiasts to cask ale fans, or to those seeking modern hop-forward and sour and fruited ales. Art History invites you to enjoy our take on a traditional German beer garden and a comfortable tasting room where you can simply sample beer styles that transport you back to their original historical source.
Yes. Well, this caught my attention because it's a Bavarian style lager. And
can't go wrong with the Bavarian style.
Yes, exactly.
The Germans who helped with creating the
Du hast mich. Have you ever seen one of those like concerts that those do, Rammstein?
Oh yeah, dude.
Dude, they're fucking insane.
Yeah, they're crazy. And then there was another one I watched. It was when Slipknot was in Germany.
Yeah,
that was another one, dude. It was like,
never got into Slipknot. Not that I don't like their music. I was just never.
I never would I would listen to like a song here and there, but I wouldn't be like, all right, I gotta play that Slipknot album.
Yeah,
but I would listen to there would be.
I gotta get some Slipknot in me.
Yeah, but there would be
gotta get the day started.
There would be a couple songs that are like, oh, I like that, and I'd listen to it.
Right. But
I would never be like, all right, I'm spending my day listening to my Slipknot playlist. Like, no. Yeah. But there was one video. The song that was in Resident Evil.
Which one? Oh, the movies?
Yeah, in the movies, they play part of it. It's like the music video is like part.
That one?
I don't know. It's half in half is part talking about Resident Evil, and then the half is a concert in Germany. And dude, the crowd is freaking insane.
Let's look it up.
I don't think you could play the sound, but if you look at it, here, just go to YouTube real quick, and I can tell you which one it is.
Oh, I got you. Don't worry, I know my searches. Keywords.
Slipknot, Resident Evil. My Plague. I think that's the one. Is it? Let's see. Go down. No, it's not. It's not that one. I don't think so.
You sure?
Because it just says Resident Evil soundtrack.
Oh.
It was like a music video.
Yeah, it's probably
that one. Yeah, it's this one.
Oh, I remember this.
But just just watch the video.
We don't want to lose our YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Credits.
But how big the crowd is insane.
Yeah. I think the biggest recorded concert in history was that Metallica one in Russia.
Maybe.
It's like over 1 million people there, I think. We had like the soldiers taking off their uniforms
Yeah.
and shit. It was like the when the wall of Berlin came down or some shit like that, I think.
But I don't know if that happened.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it's
But like, look at like just how crazy that like site is. Like how many people were involved in it.
So credit what credit is due. The fucking drums on Slipknot, like almost every song, are fucking killer.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one thing that I'm like that's like what draws me into their music. Like I don't know any of their songs, and I like Corey Taylor. Like I like some of his songs that are not Slipknot songs because they're a little bit more like, oh, I could listen to this like ballad, if you will.
Yeah.
But I've never like
Stone Sour.
Yeah, like Stone Sour.
Yeah.
But I've never sat down and listened to Slipknot and like.
Well, so like, all right. I listened to Slipknot probably from like when it first came out to where it is now, and how different it has been, like over the years, and how much more I would say Stone Sour has been put into Slipknot. Like it's not. I mean, they still have a lot of heavy songs, but there's so much more like melodic things into it. And if you actually like really listen to them, there is so much artistry that goes into those songs. Like if you really sit there and listen to the the chords that are being played and then like the drumming, but then everything together, like how many different things are going on at once, like it's actually pretty crazy.
Well, like I was watching a Drumeo. I forgot what's his name, the drummer from the Police.
I know what you're talking about.
He was just on there and he was talking about like fucking like he was giving credit to the Slipknot drummer. He's like, dude, he's fucking good.
Yeah,
he's just good. I was like, yeah.
Well, first it was Joey Jorgensen.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was somebody else, and then it was Max Weinberg's kid.
Then you had Mike Portnoy on there too.
Portnoy didn't do Slipknot. He did a Sevenfold.
No, I'm talking about Drumeo.
Oh, on Drumeo. I was talking about the drummers of Slipknot.
Oh, okay.
There's been a couple drummers in Slipknot.
Gotcha.
But Joey Jorgensen was the first one.
Yeah. Just look at that crowd, dude. It's like, as far as the eye can see...
Yeah.
That's like, fuck Wembley, Live Aid. Like, dude, look. Like, as far as you can see, there's people. Like, you can't tell where the people end and, like, the horizon begins. You got the fucking...
That soldier got killed after that video came out.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? We're doing that with your uniform.
That was Putin, dude.
No, Putin was wrestling a bear, right?
At that time?
He's like, me and the bear will fight. It's okay.
In 1991, he was wrestling bears.
Yes.
Let's try this beer. How
All
about
right,
that?
let's try this.
Good Morning Munich.
I don't know why we're talking about Russians when we have a German beer in our hand, but okay.
You know, they were all in World War. Yes, sir. Smell it? Tell me how it smells.
Smells like beer.
Does it?
No, mixed with like a fart, maybe.
Really?
I don't know, like a hot dog or something.
Ooh. Think we may have gotten a skunky batch?
I don't know. Let's see.
It smells, I don't know if it's skunky or hoppy.
It smells like a boiled hot dog. It smells a little bit like hot dog water.
Smells artsy.
And like, it smells better out of the can. At least to me, it smells better out of the can.
It still smells skunky. Let me see. Maybe you got a different can.
Like it smells like.
Here, smell mine. Nope, it smells.
Yeah, it smells way different. It smells better out of the can.
Oh, it smells like
I don't know why we're playing Ring Around the Bavarian can right now. But
Good morning, Vietnam.
well, it fills a full stein
16
with the
ounces.
tiniest bit of head.
Oh, that a little bit of ok.
Not even ok. It's just the
Ok.
It's not even. It's just.
It's not even hawk to it. It's just hawk.
No, it's ha.
Dude, how about that chick? She's in trouble. Legally.
Oh well. Spit on that thing.
She's gonna be spitting on a lot of things.
Hey man,
where she's going.
more power to her.
Maybe she's into that shit.
Hey, let's just taste this Hell's Lager beer.
Mm-hmm. It's good. Tastes like a beer. Good beer. Smooth.
All right, tastes better than it smells,
Mm-hmm.
but
Agree to that.
our mix-up is that we didn't rinse out these glasses.
I don't think it has anything.
No,
to do with
because I still have a hint of like cinnamon toast crunch coming through.
it. Nah, not me.
I do a little bit on the back end because it was like fucking caked in the bottom. But anyway, it's smooth. It's good. This would be really good with like
Wings.
I was thinking like a big
Wings. With a big what?
like if you got like sausage and wing like a big platter of food like a sauce like almost not barbecue but like grilled meats.
Like it's my first time here. Bring me everything grilled.
Yes, like one of those kind of things. Like I think that'd be good.
Like some Polish sausage or whatever.
Yeah.
Or some fucking pulled pork. Some
Yep.
rib tips.
Like I think
shit like
that would be really good with this a grilled platter of meats.
Hot cheese soup.
Not hot cheese soup. No, this would actually probably be good in beer cheese soup.
Maybe.
I think that would be pretty good.
I think we could go good with some onion soup too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, some onion rings.
Funyuns.
No, just onion rings.
So
Like,
we tried some barbecue Funyuns over down in McAllen.
how are those?
They're fucking good.
I tried those.
Like you can't go wrong with Funyuns. You know
I did
that.
those Nashville hot cheese sticks from Chili's.
Oh really?
Those were good, but they were just too big. It was a fucking block of cheese, dude.
We got, well, not we, but the ladies got sick from fucking Waterbury.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
That shit had to suck. And then I don't know if it was like, I don't know if it's because we were drinking a lot during those off days. This is like all day drinking.
Yeah.
Like we weren't getting fucked up. We were pacing ourselves, but it's like all day we were drinking.
But
So,
over time,
yeah, we got runny. Like I know I got runny. And then it was like until I was like slowed down and drinking, started eating more solids. I was like, yeah, I'm getting better. Funny how that works.
yes.
Anyway, yes, this beer, yeah, it's a good it's a good companion for food.
For me, it's my run of the mill. It's your run of the mill typical,
I wouldn't say
Bavarian style.
Yeah, it's
Hell's Lager. To me, it doesn't stick out. I mean, it's good, but I feel like it's
a bit generic.
it's right there.
Yeah.
It's where like you make that style and you do it well, and it's right there. And I think that's where it's at.
It's definitely a little bit sweeter than your run of the mill lager.
Yeah.
Which is good.
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that there's nothing crazy about it. Like it's not like I sip it and I'm like, oh my god, I'm seeing Jesus.
Sorry, Good Morning Munich, you're not going on the wall.
No, they're not a wall
Worthy.
Well, all right, they're not. They're just to us. It's not wall worthy.
Yeah, it's not bad. It might be somebody's cup of tea.
I do like it.
Yeah, I could definitely drink it.
If somebody offered it to me, I would drink it.
Yeah. I've had it. It's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I wouldn't be like, oh no, how dare you.
Oh, it's either that or Corona? Yes, I'll have that.
Oh my god, yeah, I'd take this over a Corona any day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I gotta say one thing, if we're just gonna be talking about beers for a second, since I am living on a budget currently.
No?
Not a very tight budget. Yeah, I've become a fan of the Busch Light.
Oh my god.
Dude, can't go wrong with
Really?
12 beers for $8.
Are you going to start having an accent too?
Well, I already got the mullet working.
I know.
And I'm wearing flannel.
Yeah.
All right, I'm wearing flannel.
You
got a
wearing
mullet
boots yet?
No. I draw the line on that because those would hurt my feet.
Dude, I got boots. They're so comfortable. They got memory foam. I had to fight to get them back. It was a whole thing. Tyler was mad at me. So here's the story. A few years back, I was down in Mexico. For I think it was the year my grandma passed away, and they had this convention where they sell like boots and belts. It's like really like Mexican type stuff. And I was like,
Mexican stuff in Mexico.
yeah.
Who would have thought?
Well, like very like outdoorsy Mexican style stuff. Which is like boots, belts, cowboy hats. You know, you want to get a leather jacket. They have all this shit, but it's all like artisan made. So I was like, you know what? I don't have a pair of boots, and I don't want to get a pair of boots that are like fucking from manta ray or some shit, or some fucking prehistoric animal. And I found these boots that I liked, you know, and they were kind of suede, like not suede, but they were a little bit suede, but they're working boots.
Okay.
So they're made to be tough, you know, like you could use them to fuck shit up.
They're made for walking.
Yeah, and they'll walk all over you. Anyway,
Boom, 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 boom.
I got these boots. I was with two of my brothers, and one of my brothers bought boots. The other one's like, no, I don't need boots. Blah blah blah. My oldest brother, Ray, he's like, I don't need boots. So I brought him up, took him back down. I was like, I don't wear them up here. I'm just gonna leave them in Mexico when there's more of a chance of me wearing them down there anyway.
Yeah.
So they were down there, and this Christmas when I went down, I was like, oh my god, I have my boots here, and I remember they were comfortable. I'm gonna go get them, and they were at our house. Because when we go down there, we stay at my grandparents before my grandpa passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So I told my mom, I was like, hey, I need the keys to the house because I'm going to go get my boots. Because we looked at my grandpa's house and I was like, they're not here, so they must be at the other house. I can't remember if we took them over there. So can I borrow the keys so I can go look? She's like, yeah. She's like, your brother has the keys, so we need to get them from him. I was like, okay. And then my cousin's husband's like, are you talking about your boots? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I think your brother said he saw him at the house, and I don't know if he grabbed them or not. I was like, that sneaky motherfucker. So I called up my brother. I'm like, hey, man, you got them keys? I need to go to the house to get my boots. And he's like, oh, I have your boots. I was like, really? He's like, well, you left them here for so many years. I didn't think you wanted them anymore, so I just grabbed them. I was like, huh. I was like, so anything in that house that you've left for years is up for grabs, fucker? And Tyler's like, why are you making such a big deal over these boots? And I was like, well, you could see how he wanted them, right? So she saw them. She's like, okay, they're nice. And I'm like, they're fucking comfortable. They got memory foam. And they look nice. So maybe I'll start drinking Busch Light. Maybe I'll get a mullet. And I'll wear my boots, too. Maybe I'll get into cars. Especially the Daytona 500.
Well, hey, man. You get into the cars, I'll get into the barbecuing. There we go.
I don't know if I could pull off the accent, though. I'm too Mexican.
Yeah, it's just the same kind of thing.
Yeah. Start dating your sister and your,
No, my sisters are married. You're not going to start dating my sister.
I'm not going to start dating your sister. Never mind. You missed the whole joke.
I know. I did get the joke. I was just talking about the way you said it.
You fucking twisted that joke around. You made it awkward for me. Put a lot of thoughts in my head. God damn you.
Oh, well.
Good childhood memories.
There you go. That's what happens.
Yes.
It's good to relive those every now and then.
Oh, those are very, very imprinted in my brain, believe me. Anywho, yeah. Should get yourself a pair of boots, dude. They're nice.
Maybe.
Yeah. Then they look good with the flannel.
Yeah.
I know because I brought flannels while I was down there. And they gave me like that little lift to the heel. But it wasn't too much. It wasn't like oh my god, look at my cheeks, they're so perky. No, it wasn't anything like that. I was just like, damn, I feel like I'm standing up straighter. You know? Had my flannel. No, actually, I was wearing my Hawaiian shirt too. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I was like, I look like I'm straight out of a fucking 80s TV show. Oh yeah. I was like, I just need those fucking aviators and a fucking mustache. I had already shaved that at that point because I had the stash again.
No, dude.
Oh yeah.
Stash was weird. Especially when you look like a fucking conquistador.
Well, that's because I had the Van Dyke.
Yeah, that's a Van Don't.
It's a Van Du. So.
No, you look like you should be with Marco Polo or go conquering South America or something.
Fucking Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like you were showing up to them, where the Aztecs were and giving them fucking chicken pox, seeing them all die.
I'm gonna kill you.
These guys are warriors. How do we get rid of them? Just cough on them.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all dead. Why? They never had anybody cough on them before. They never knew what a cough was until now, and they're all dead.
Yeah.
Somebody sneezed and wiped out half of the population. I don't know what happened.
They got malaria.
Yeah. He took a shit and he didn't wipe his hands and he shook his hand. He's all dead.
Salmonella.
Everybody got pink eye and died. I don't know what happened. Everybody's all itchy. I don't get it.
Well, where were we before we started that?
I have no idea.
You just went off on a tangent.
Yeah.
The Van Dyke.
Yeah. The Conquistador.
Conquistador.
I call it Conquistador.
I liked it. I liked it. If I didn't have so much gray, I think it would have looked better.
Yeah.
And I'm not about to use the Rogaine. Fuck all that. Because my brother dyed his beard one time. He's got a lot of gray too. He dyed it, and he was going to dye it black. But instead of getting that red black, he got the fucking blue.
Oh.
The jet blue. So I was like...
Oh, so it obvious.
I was like, what the fuck is
like
that, Papa Smurf?
So it's just painting it on. Just like...
Yeah, it had streaks of blue. I was like, what the fuck happened to you? He's like, I dyed my beard. I was like, no shit. I'm like, did you pick the wrong fucking dye? Yeah, that was funny. He's like, I'm shaving tomorrow. I was like, good, you should.
And he shaves and it's still there because the dye is just like...
I was like, next time you want to go with the red dye, like the black reddish, so it looks brown.
Yeah. Or you get what was it? A touch of gray.
Yeah.
Touch of gray.
Touch of gray.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, dude, when my mom thought I dyed my hair.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, are you dyeing your hair? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
She's like, it looks so dark. I'm like, yeah, it's the longest it's been in 8 years.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I haven't grown my hair out in 8 years.
Yeah, you used to keep it pretty tight.
I know, dude. And then feeling this, and then when I see it and how much it is, I'm like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
And I still get this trimmed up every once in a while. I don't want to trim it up, but the lady does every time.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, no, leave it. And I want to grow out this more, but Colleen doesn't want that. She's like,
well, you don't want to get that bushy beard like fucking Alan from The Hangover.
no, not that big, but a little bit bigger so I can comb it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help that I can't find my charger for my beard trimmer. So I'm kind of just kind of leaving it. Grow it out a little bit.
I usually try to, I'll let it go for 2 weeks and I'll just trim it. So I'm due this, no, not this weekend, next weekend. I'm due for
Yeah, I got about another couple days before I have to go get a haircut.
Oh, a haircut! I'm in need of a haircut.
Every 14 days, man.
Not me, dude. Mine's every 3 months.
Oh no. So the sides, they get really puffy.
Yeah.
And I get this funny looking afro with the sides. So I have to get rid of it. It doesn't do it in the back, which is really weird. This hair just hangs out.
Yeah.
And it's actually starting to curl at the bottom, which I thought it was funny. The one day I had a hat on and I had the whole bottom curled up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no.
It's winging up.
Yeah. Colleen's like, what's wrong? I'm like, oh, I'm a hillbilly now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this shit's starting to turn.
Yep.
I'm like, gotta go throw on my flannel. And she's like, oh my God, it is starting to curl. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I had curly hair growing when I was younger.
Dude, you've seen Allison.
Well, yeah.
Her fucking hair is curly.
I know.
Super curly, dude.
Yeah, I know. I've seen her plenty of times.
Yeah.
You guys won't let me hold her, though. It's kind of weird.
You can hold her.
Every time I try to, you guys are like, oh,
I don't mind if you hold her. I don't think Talia minds either.
I don't know. She kind of stared at me.
You just need to say, hey, can I hold her?
She stared at me the one time. I'm like, I can just pick her up.
Oh, you can pick her up. You're her uncle.
So. All right, good.
Yeah. Plus, she's getting so big, dude.
I know.
Sunday will be well, when this comes out, will be a week ago, the 19th. 11 months.
Yeah, dude.
It fucking goes by. I know you're gonna say, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, man, it goes by. Like,
Well, dude,
you're in
it's
high school now.
well, it's crazy to think is because like she's where she's at. Roxana's baby just turned 2.
Yeah.
And dude, I remember her being pregnant like it was fucking last week,
Yeah.
which was like a year, like 2 years ago last week. Because
Dude, I
Roxanne,
remember at your engagement party when she brought the baby, she was like tiny.
yeah, now that kid is fucking walking and yeah, dude, she's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it flies by, man. Like I was looking at Braxton today, and I was just like, oh my god, this kid's gonna be in high school next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had our conversation. I forgot what we were doing. Oh, we were at basketball practice, and we were talking about stuff, and I was being kind of hard on him, and he was starting to get a little upset. But I had to sit him down, and I'm like, hey, I want you to, I'm like, there's something you need to know right now. And he's like, what's up? I'm like, okay, my time of treating you as my baby is done. I'm like, I can't treat you like that anymore. I'm like, you will always be a baby to me, but for you, I need to start training you to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I will always want to snuggle you in bed and have you fall asleep in my arms and everything I did with you as a kid and a baby and everything. Like I will always want that,
Yeah.
but we can't do that anymore. And I have to now be a certain way with you for you to understand what is ahead in life.
Yeah.
And I need to start showing you what it means to be a man and how to flip the switch from being a kid to a man. Like you're going into a bigger world now.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to show you those things. I'm like, don't get me wrong. There's going to be plenty of times when I want to hug you and have you be my little kid again, because that's what parents do through most of their kids' lives up until even when they're older. There's still that moment where it kind of has a flashback to where you do those things. And it's just natural because that's your parent-children thing that should happen for, a good relationship.
Right.
And I told them, like, look, we will always have these moments. We'll always do this. But I need to start transitioning you to feeling what the real world is like.
Here's the thing, though. Like, so you're having this moment, right, with your son.
Mm-hmm.
And you're appreciating it as an adult. And when right now he's taking it in as a young man,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it probably won't dawn on him until he's probably your age right now.
Well, no, he's already realizing it because he's like, there's little things that he's catching on to where I'm like, hey, this is what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about the maturity, though. Like, because right now he's a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about, like, so picture Braxton at 40
Mm-hmm.
and remembering that moment that you told him, like, hey, you're always going to be my baby, but I need to train you to be that shit's going to hit him so hard. Like, dude, I'm like fucking tearing up over it. Like, dude.
Well, yeah, and he gets mad at me about things, and he gets mad at his mom about things. And I told him, I'm like, look, dude, I'm giving you all the information now because I didn't have this growing up.
Yeah.
I told him, like, you want to know where my dad was at? My dad was always working.
Mm.
My dad really wasn't around that much. Where was my mom? My mom was working. I'm like, I didn't have these kind of experiences. I didn't get to learn these things.
Yeah.
Like I had to learn about things myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wasn't taught about certain things and how to do or react to things. Like I had to grow up on the fly and learn it that way.
But do you ever think, like, because right now you're seeing it with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You ever think, like, about when your parents were this age and they were like they couldn't even do that because they were working? Like, you think,
Well,
like like the way I see it is, like, now that I see, like, the sacrifices that we make as parents, and you're like even when you're like dude, I'm fucking on a tight budget and I got to see how we're going to get through this month or whatever. But you're not telling your kid that, like, hey,
No.
we don't have any money. I don't know how we're going to survive through this. Or, you know, hey, we're good. Or they're telling you, like, hey, I want this, I want that. And you're just like, okay, we'll see. And in the back of your mind, you're like, well, how the fuck am I going to pull this
No,
off?
when it comes to them wanting stuff, I tell them straight out.
Well, I'm not saying, like,
No, like when because like they come up to me asking for the most randomness
I'm
of
not
shit.
talking about, like, I want this.
Oh yeah, but I'll
that.
tell them straight out. Like I'll be like, hey, look, you know the situation.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's more important? Making sure you have this, 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 and this,
Mm-hmm.
or that one thing. Which one is more important to you?
Right, no, but you're just spitting out truths at that point.
Well, yeah.
You're spitting out like, hey, for me, it's more important right now to put food on the table than getting you a fucking, you know, Michael Jordan sneakers.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that.
Which I
I'm
ended
talking
up
about
getting
like,
anyway.
huh?
I ended up getting them for him anyway.
Right, but in the back of your mind, you're like, so they don't see the sacrifice that you're making behind the curtain to get them
Yeah.
through everything and getting them what they want.
Yeah.
And do you ever think about like when you were growing up, the sacrifices your parents made to get you what you wanted?
Well,
Like
yeah.
maybe that's why your parents were working so hard.
That's not why. I don't want to get into that section of my life.
Well,
That's a part of my life that, like, yeah, it's pretty.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm getting at. Like, I'm not talking about like it doesn't have to be your specific case. I'm
Well, I
talking
know.
about in general.
But like, what a lot of people's perception of my parents is really different than what the reality was, and yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Dude, I love your parents, dude.
Oh, I know.
Like even now, after I seen your mom, after I saw her, like after not seeing her for like 15 years, and she's like, oh, like now, it's like, it's hugs and everything. Like when we were growing up, it was never hugs. It was like hi.
Well, yeah.
And now it's like, oh my god, how are you? Oh my god, your baby. And I'm like, yes, I'm an adult now too.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. It's
My favorite thing was
I
your
mean,
dad's like, you guys doing the podcast? You guys drop a lot of F-bombs. I was like, oops.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to talk about my parents. That's an episode for another day. I know
Well, it doesn't have to be. This isn't
that would, I know. I'm just saying, and that would shine a whole light, a different perspective of them on you. So I'd rather keep that in the dark.
Yeah.
So
You don't have to talk about it.
well, I know. I'm just saying because like my view and perception of them is different, and then you got both of my sisters, and they each have a different perception and view of them as well.
Different time.
And it's a gradual decline, and yeah, I mean it is what it is. I mean,
Well, it's like me with like my dad. My brothers are all older than me, so they got to spend more time with them. And like, even though I love my dad, I'm like, we weren't super tight up until like the last couple of years before he passed away, because it was like when I was already like kind of an adult growing up already.
Yeah.
But they got to be adults with them for a long time, so more it was for them. It was more like I could drink with dad, I could do this with dad, I could do that. Like they got to be more of that buddy part with them.
Yeah.
I didn't get that much. So, and it's different because I see it with my friends that are like our age, and their dad's still around, and like they drink with us sometimes, and it's like, it's not like their dad at that point. It's like you're just like another person that like we hang out with.
Yeah, no. My dad, I wouldn't be able to do that around my dad.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm just thinking
I'm not
about.
saying like we're going to go out and get fucked
Oh
up.
no, I'm just thinking about with me. Like if my dad's around, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna still be me. Like I'm like, all right, hey dad. Like I remember I was telling Colleen about this. Like I don't know how the conversation came up. I think it had something to do. Oh, it was about when we were in this. Yeah, I remember. It was when we were talking about speeches for the wedding, and I told her, I'm like, you know, I feel really weird calling your parents Art and Trish, and she's like, why? I'm like, well, those are your parents. She's like, so what? I'm like, I didn't know my parents' names until I was like 13, and she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I knew them as mom and dad. Like, I didn't know them as anything else. Like, Nobody fucking
Dude, I
told.
learned your mom's name when I was like 10, because your grandma would
But
be like,
I know, but like
Darlene!
it never registered to me to be like that's my mom.
Yeah.
Like my mom was my mom and dad was dad. Like
Mm-hmm.
I never put the I never thought about it.
Yeah.
So and I'm like and God forbid if I ever said it's Mike and Dar.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, that's my mom and that's my dad.
Yeah.
You know. And she's like, that's weird. You don't have to be weird about it. I'm like, no, I have. I'm like, those are your parents. Like, I can't just be like, oh, hey, Art and Trish. Like, I feel weird doing that.
Well, why though? They're not your parents.
I know, but it was always a thing. Like,
Mr. or
like,
Mrs.?
yeah, like I would always say Mr. or Mrs. whatever, or, hey, Juan's mom, or like, oh, hey, I know you don't like Dan Johnson, but hey, Mrs. Johnson, like, this kind of thing. Like, I'd never said, hey, Mary.
I think it's different though, because like, for example, if they know you from when you were a kid and you grew up, and like for me, like if I say, hey, Mr. Long, hey, Mrs. Long, it's like, either way, I feel comfortable calling them Mike and Darlene because I'm like, we're adults now.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about it. Like, even...
And it's like when I do it, I don't feel like I'm being disrespectful, and I hope they don't take it with disrespect. It's just like,
yeah,
hey, Mike. Like, I'm not saying like, what's up, Mike. Like, I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
even
friendly.
Even like my brother-in-law's mom, Mrs. Garala. I've known her since I was like 4.
Yeah,
I can't call her Sue.
Well,
I'm just like, Mrs. Garala, and she's like, Kyle, it's Sue. I'm like, nope. Not happening.
See, that's the thing. Like, there's certain people that make me feel like that too, where it's like I have to call you Mrs. So and So or Mr. So and So, and it's like I don't know if it's like I don't know. It's I know what you're saying,
but like I feel that way about like most people's parents that I know. Like if I grew up with you, like I'm not gonna call your mom by her name.
Yeah.
Or like I'm not like we grew up together. Like Phil's parents, I would never call them by their names. I would be like,
what was his parents' name?
And that's why I wouldn't call them by their names because I don't remember. And his mom, I would just be like, hi. And she'd be like, woo! I'm like, all right, hey, never mind, She just started screaming craziness. And I'm like, all right, never mind. And
Is he home?
And then his dad would have to walk, and it would smell really spicy, and I'd have to leave.
Yeah,
because then it smelled like mace. Pepper spray was brought into the whole house. Things like that.
I don't know.
But like even like Lindsay's parents, like I don't call them, Tony and Bambi. Like I don't call them that. Like if I introduce them to somebody, yeah, her mom's name is Bambi.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have the same birthday too. But like if I introduce them, I'll be like, oh, this is, I'll use their names.
Yeah.
But like if I talk about them, I don't use their names. I'm
Yeah.
talking about, as who they are.
Yeah. I think it's just like, for me anyway, it's like certain people.
I just feel like there's a hierarchy, and I'm not at that hierarchy yet to be able to do that.
Right, but like there's certain adults that I feel comfortable calling by their first name.
Yeah.
Like your parents give me that comfort where I'm like, oh, hey, Mike, hey, Darlene.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't call your grandma if she was still around, Sylvia. I wouldn't be like, hey, Sylvia. That I feel like, okay, hi, Kyle's grandma, Mrs. McLean.
No, you'd have to call her Sly Dog.
Well, yeah. See, like if she was like, you can just call me Sly Dog.
That was
like, you can call me Nighthawk.
99.9% of the people I know called her Sly Dog, dude. Everybody did.
I was remembering when she worked at White Hen.
Mm-hmm.
God, the good old days.
Oh, dude, I tried explaining White Hen to the boys, and I'm like, all right, you know how there's 7-Eleven, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so there was a better version of that, like way back then, and I'm like, and Nani was like the queen of the White Hen in Summit, and they're like, what? I'm like, she ran that thing for 18 years, and I'm like, and you go in there, and it'll be like, there's a sandwich counter, you can get sandwiches, or you could just get lunch meat, and then they had like a soup section and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, and I remember I was talking about it with well, Aaron and Mike were there too at the house when I brought this up. And Mike brought it up. He's like, dude, he goes, I remember when Sylvia would make her sandwiches. And he goes, like, for regular people who she didn't know, the sandwiches were like this big. He goes, but, he goes, if Sylvia fucking knew you, your sandwich was like this fucking big with like 3.5 pounds of meat and cheese. He's like, that bread was like almost folded in half trying to hold that food together. He goes, you would eat for like 2 days off of one sandwich.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep. And I remember when we would have early dismissal at Walsh, I would walk to White Hen to come home with her because she got out at 2. So we had 1:45. I'd walk there and I'd get a ride home. And dude, when it was her time to get off, she would walk down the aisles and just throw shit in her purse. She would steal from her employer. And she just didn't give a shit. She'd be like, Kyle, do you want this guitar magazine? I'm like, yeah, okay.
Dude,
all right, we gotta get a loaf of bread. Okay.
I remember me and my brother went there one time. This is the one that's closest to my age. He's like 5 years older than me. And there was this dude that worked. He was a tall dude. He had that fucking like Beatles.
It's Roy.
Roy. Okay, whatever. Fuck his name.
Roy Carey.
And that
he was actually a really nice guy.
Yeah, but he kept me mugging my brother because he looked like a gangbanger. And I was just with him, and I was like fucking 12. He was like 17. He's like, this motherfucker keeps fucking eyeballing me. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, winter. He's like, I'm gonna fuck with him. So he grabbed a loaf of bread, and he made sure that Roy saw him. And he did this with his jacket. He grabbed it, and he fucking swiped it and covered his jacket, and then he went underneath and put it back. So then we kept going around the store and looking at shit, and like, you know, we bought whatever we were gonna buy, like fucking, I don't know, Hostess fucking Twinkies or whatever. And we went there, we were gonna pay, and the dude's like, what about the loaf of bread that's under your coat? He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, open your coat. And he's like, no. He's like, I saw you put that loaf of bread on your coat. He's like, what loaf of bread, motherfucker? And I was just like, oh shit. I was like, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? He's gonna call the cops. And he's just like, I'm not stealing anything. You're fucking profiling me, asshole. He's just like, I'm sorry. He's like, I thought I saw you put that loaf of bread under your coat. He's just like, no, man, fuck you. And we just like didn't pay and we just left. But yeah, my brother was like, I was like, why are you fucking with him to begin with? He's like, because he keeps fucking mean mugging me. I was like, well, yeah, I would do that too. If I had the savviness, or I'm like, somebody's fucking mean mugging me, I'm gonna fuck with him right back. But yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
Good old White Hen.
Yeah, dude. That was an awesome place.
Yeah. They had all the fucking magazines, and they had those magazines inside their plastic bags.
Yeah. They had the magazines that you couldn't really look at, but they were there.
Yeah. With a CD in the bag.
Yep. Oh, yeah, dude. And then just...
And they had the crossing guard lady that was at that fucking, what is that, Archer?
Yeah, dude. She was a Vietnam vet, dude.
I know, dude. That lady was awesome. She was crazy, but she was awesome. She was wild.
Yeah, Letty. She was nice.
She was. She always looked out for us.
Yeah, she was a nurse in Vietnam.
Was she really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know she passed away a few years back.
Yeah, but yeah, she was a really good friend of my grandmother.
Yeah.
But yeah, she would always be loud and crazy, but there was one time where she wasn't that loud when I was there to wait for my grandma to go home.
Yeah.
And she was like, she told me about it, and yeah, she was a nurse in the Marines during Vietnam.
Well, she was loud and crazy, but like funny.
Oh yeah,
Like,
but I'm
she
talking about
wasn't,
like
like,
she wasn't like that. She was just talking like a normal person,
Wow.
you know. And she told me about it, and I was just like, it's
Well,
just
like,
crazy to think.
She was kind of like a character.
Yeah.
The kids kind of deal. Yeah. Yeah, she was definitely a cool lady.
Yeah, dude.
I was kind of sad to find out that she passed away. I forgot who told me. I think it was Bubba. Like, I was sad when I found out Mr. Gratcher died, too. Because he was one of my favorite grade school teachers.
Yeah.
Miss Holloway, too.
Mm-hmm.
They were both my homeroom teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking WCW.
Yes, Windy City Wrestling.
Yes.
I gotta say, when we're talking about like back at the Walsh days, dude. Oh man, that was such an awesome school.
Yeah, everybody
You know?
had like at least like 50% of that school had that pullover basketball team jackets.
Yeah, no, but I'm just talking about the teachers though.
Oh yeah.
Like the school was good. You know, that's the thing that got me was how good. Like, and I think about it like now, growing up, and just like the the way that that school was. Like, I have no idea how it is now. Like, I
Mm.
haven't been out there in so long. But like those groups of teachers that we had,
It was
like
like a
it
big
was
deal.
just amazing, dude. Like, I think about like, and I know most of my teachers' names still, like Miss Koski, Miss
Miss McKenzie.
Hanley. Like,
I had Miss McKenzie, Miss Cole, Miss Thomas, Miss Holloway, and Mr. Ratcher.
yeah, I had, let's see, kindergarten was Miss Hanley. First grade was Miss Koski. Second was Mackenzie.
Yep.
Third was Moles, right? Fourth,
No. Third,
I think third was Miss Moles.
I had Mrs. Cole.
I had Miss Moles, and then fourth
Miss
was
Cole, I remember because she looked like a Barbie.
yeah, yeah. I had Mrs. Moles, and in fourth grade, I think it was Mrs. Thomas.
Yep.
I don't remember. Fifth grade was
You had Miss Seminitis, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in
Did I ever tell you the
sixth grade
story?
was Mr. Gretchner.
Did I ever tell you the story? Miss Seminitis ended up at the Taekwondo place where I was.
Yeah,
And I was actually like one of the guys that was like starting up the classes because I was like kind of getting advanced. And the fucking sensei would be like, "Hey, why don't you warm them up?" And I'd see, and it was the adult class. So you got a bunch of fucking grown ass people listening to some fucking 12-year-old kid like, "All right, we're gonna do duck walks. All right, we're gonna do push-ups." All
dude,
right.
I remember. So, Mrs. Thomas,
Yeah.
she grew up with my dad,
Okay.
so she knew my dad growing up, and I remember she had a thing going on with Mr. Fee.
No.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Mrs. Thomas. I thought
yeah.
Mr. Fee was married.
Like I said, she had a thing going on with Mr. Fee.
Mr. Fee.
And then
More
I'm
like
trying to
Mr.
think.
Free.
The crazy thing, like, and I always thought about how, when Miss Hanley, I had her in kindergarten. I remember when we left in sixth grade to go to Graves, everybody who was in her kindergarten class, she had pictures from every single year of us. And then at the end, she had a thing, she put
Like
a
a
poster
collage.
together of the years as we grew up
Mm.
through Walsh, and she gave this to us on our last day of sixth grade. And dude, I think my parents still have that hanging up on their fridge.
That's cool.
When they still lived in Summit, it was still there, and I think they moved it to their house now.
So,
And I told the boys about that, and I'm like, this is so different than like things now. I'm like, this woman didn't have to do this,
yeah.
and she chose to do it as a memento of us growing up in this period of time.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
like,
like a time capsule.
yeah, and it was crazy to think that.
So, have you seen the video of that dude with the spool of wire? You haven't seen it?
I don't think so.
Okay. So there's this guy, and you can tell he's like in his 50s or probably 60s.
Okay.
And he's in his backyard, and he's just holding this spool of wire, and he's looking at it. And his wife comes out, and she's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just looking at the spool of wire." He's like, "I've had this spool of wire, and it's almost out." He's like, "And I've had it for 40 years, and I remember when it was like this big." And he's like, "And I've had this thing for 40 years, and it's almost out." He's like, "Does that make sense?" So like the dude's like facing his mortality in a spool of wire, and his wife just shits on him. She's like, "Well, I was just worried because you're wearing your Jets hat and you're out here by yourself." And he's just like, "Oh my god." Like, and everybody shit on this woman because she did this to him. And it was like, this is why men don't open up. This is why we always say like we're fine or I'm okay or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, this is why men don't open up about shit. Because you could, like, if you see the video, this dude was like fucking like, you could see it in his eyes that the guy was like fucking like Like, this spool of wire is 40 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Like, he was able to measure it, where it went. And it's fucking heartbreaking to watch it, dude, because I'm like, dude, that fucking 40 years. And I related to it because one time, I remember I had talked with you on the phone earlier when I was coming back from downtown. I told Ty, I was like, hey, you want to drive by my old house where I grew up in Summit? Because that's like my most vivid growing up memory.
Yeah.
Like, you know, from like 8 forward, like I don't remember anything before that. Like I remember it, but it's like mental lagoons. Like from 8th grade forward, I'm like, oh, I remember this, and that, you know? So I was like, and she's like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. So we drive by the house, I'm like, oh my God, it looks the same, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Like this changed and this is different and blah, blah, blah. And then we drove past Walsh and I was like, this is the grade school where I went like for fucking 3.5 years. And I'm like, you want to drive past the fucking high school? And I'm like going through memory lane and she's just like, yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like, I'm just worried about you because you're wearing your Jets hat and you look like you're about to cry. And I'm like, I get it. She can't relate.
Yeah.
But I was like fucking having this moment, and I'm like, I got my kid. I'm like, this is when I was a kid, and now I have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having that fucking eureka moment where it's like you're fucking grown up now, and like those times, like you don't realize how good you had it when you were young.
Yeah.
And it was, and I was like I don't want her to feel bad about it. But I was like, she basically took a shit on it.
Yeah.
It's like, Colleen, if you're listening and you fucking...
Well, here.
And Kyle takes you to his childhood
let's pause that for
memory lane.
Pause it for a second.
Fucking acknowledge it.
Gotta pause for 2 minutes.
Okay.
We're just talking about.
We're rolling.
So okay,
I
bring it.
Brought you in without you knowing.
So, all right. Well, you know where I lived on the Argo side.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever show you where I lived on the Summit side?
Like before the Argo side?
Yeah.
I think so.
So like right where the White Hen was, right?
Like a block away or something.
Where White Hen,
church was?
where the church, and then like 3 houses away from the church.
Yeah.
So like I remember bringing the boys over there, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, you see that little shack in the back of the yard? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's where I lived. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, that was a garage that somebody converted into a house.
Mm.
And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, your grandparents had the bedroom. Your great grandmother slept on the couch, and me and your aunts slept in bunk beds that was in a pantry. I'm like, that was the first house I lived in. That's how big that house was. Our yard was 5 times the size of our house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I lived in a converted garage, and I told them about that, and I'm like, I just want you guys to see this and think about like what you got and what you ask for, and what you think that you need, and see what other people have. I'm like, we had, when I was growing up, like we would have spaghetti week, and they're like, what? I'm like, my mom would make a pot of spaghetti sauce on Monday. I'm like, we would have spaghetti on Monday, mastacholi on Tuesday, whatever, ravioli on Wednesday. I'm like, this on Thursday, baked mastacholi on Friday, leftovers on Saturday. It was all the same shit, just different noodles. Yeah. Maybe she'll throw some sausage in there, maybe a little sprinkle of cheese, if that. I'm like, that was it, dude. I'm like, that was 1 week a month. We had spaghetti week. And then I'm like, and then we would have, I'm like, you would have hamburger helper week, dude, where they bought some ground beef, and every fucking day it was stroganoff or cheesy macaroni or Philly cheesesteak or this, that, and the other. I'm like, whatever the fuck was on sale, that's what we ate. And then I always joke around with him. I'm like, you hate sauce on your food, and he's like, yeah. And you hate this on your food, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, you want to know what would happen if I said I didn't like something? And they're like, what? Like, I didn't eat. My mom would be like, too fucking bad. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, there wouldn't be no special meal for you, dude. It would literally be, this is the food.
Like it? Let's go look and see what you want.
I'm like,
I'll cook that up.
Yeah. My mom was like, this is the food I made. If you don't like it, too fucking bad. Yeah. And I'm like, I couldn't stand. And I always brought up this one specific example. I'm like, my grandmother, Sylvia, I'm like, was an amazing cook. She could cook the shit out of everything except pot roast. She fucking sucked at pot roast. She could cook anything else you could think of under the sun, but if you put a pot roast in front of her, that was like her fucking kryptonite. She didn't know what the fuck was going on. And I told the boys, I'm like, look, I can't stand ketchup. I fucking hate ketchup. But that was the only thing I could use to eat that fucking pot roast. I would put a pound of ketchup on there and I would eat it. And my mom would be like, oh,
what happened to all the ketchup? Kyle has some pot roast.
Like Sly Dog made pot roast, so Kyle was eating a whole fucking jar of fucking ketchup. And I told them, like, that was the only time I ate ketchup. And they're like, what? I'm like, if Nani was cooking pot roast, your dad was eating fucking ketchup.
Yep.
And that was the only time I ate ketchup.
You want some pot roast for that ketchup, Kyle?
Dude, that's how it was. That fucking pot roast would be fucking bright red and just oozing in fucking ketchup because that was the only way I would eat it. And I couldn't eat it any other way because of how bad it was. Because it would just be so dry and so bland and just like pitiful. And I'd be like, nope. That king size thing of fucking Sam's Club Heinz ketchup.
Oh, was it even fucking Heinz? It was the fucking Sam's.
Yeah, Sam's Choice, just all over it just to make it palatable. And I'd be like, all right, I'll eat it now. And I'd be like, this shit is disgusting.
Like, I got some pot roast in my ketchup.
Yeah. Waiting for a carrot or a potato to show up. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Some flavor. But yeah, dude.
I thought a little bit of salt on there.
Oh, yeah. No, salt didn't help that shit either. You needed salt, pepper, garlic, fucking anything you could think. But then here's the thing. Then my grandmother would make, like, bomb-ass fried chicken. Okay. Or, like, fried fish. Or any other thing you could fucking think of. But you put a pot roast in front of her and she's like, ah!
Did she not know?
I don't know, dude. She was just like, ah, throw it in the oven and see what happens.
This is my specialty.
But that's the thing, dude. She made so many other good things.
Yeah.
But pot roast, she just shit the bed when it came to pot roast. Well. But anything else you could think of, she would knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
You put a fucking pot roast in front of her, she's dead to rights, dude. Like, yeah, she had no idea.
Like, it's her kryptonite.
Yeah, dude, she had no idea. They put it in front of her. It's like she's trying to look at Chinese or something. She's like, I don't know.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What am I cooking here?
It's a fucking pot roast with potatoes and carrots and onions.
Yeah.
And she would put the carrots, onions, and potatoes in there, but no seasoning. And it would come out and be like, this bitch needs some ketchup.
Oh, dude, I can't remember what age was when I was like, what do you eat? French fries with ketchup? And they're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, French fries, ketchup. And I was like, I don't know if my taste buds needed something a little bit more sour. So I would start putting like pepper in my ketchup or mustard in my ketchup to make it a little bit spicier or sour, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's part of that whole, like, you know, when you're little, you're like, oh, I don't like spicy. But I was little, I didn't like spices. Like, I didn't like spicy until I was like fucking in my teens.
I love with my fries. I like doing sriracha and mayonnaise.
Haven't had that combination yet. I might have. I don't know. Here's the thing with sriracha for me. It's like spice because it's not really even that hot.
Mm-mm.
But
No, it's flavorful though.
not really, not for me, dude.
It
has
depends
no
on how much
flavor.
like you use though.
No, but that flavor is like
Or like
nothing.
I like Valentina and mayonnaise too.
Valentine is the shit though, but that's because it's got like fucking 100 grams of sodium in it.
Yeah. And then you gotta throw Cholula and eggs.
I'd rather do Yucateco. That's my jam right now. Fucking Tabasco lost like all.
I don't use Tabasco.
Tabasco.
I like
lost
that one that you have, the little pepper.
Little pepper.
The little.
The piquin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that stuff's good, dude.
Yeah. Can't get those here.
I know.
Well, you could, but you gotta go to like a Mexican store to buy them.
Yeah.
Dude, even when I was like this last trip I had down there, those little plants for those fucking chiles, they're wild. Like they grow in the wild. So if somebody finds one, they're like, nothing is getting built on top of this. This plant is like sacred. Like, and they're fucking sacred, dude. Like everybody's like, nobody's touching this area. Like there's a perimeter around here and a force field, and you can't touch it.
Yeah, when I was cleaning up after the dogs,
Yeah,
I was doing something on the side, like by in the kitchen,
yeah.
and I saw that bottle. I'm like, oh, that's some good stuff.
It is fucking good stuff. I was gonna bring like 2 bottles up too. You should have told me. If you would have called me, you're like, "Hey, can you bring up a bottle?" It would have reminded me. I would have brought you yours, and I would have brought some for myself. Because I think you could bring those up because it's even though it's got seeds, they're in vinegar, so they're dead. You can't ferment those or plant those.
Yeah.
So, and my mom's brought it a couple times, like contraband. Like just document the shit, whatever.
Yeah.
But like. Yeah, I think that is okay because it's not like pork or anything, and the seeds are basically dead because of the vinegar. Because that salsa has a lot of vinegar in it.
Yeah.
And my grandma used to make that salsa. Like that was like bought. Like you go down there and buy it, but like my grandma used to make that shit from scratch, and that like it was even better. Like,
I need your mom's fucking hot sauce, dude.
Oh, the habanero one. She makes good salsa, dude.
I need
like
that and some tamales.
Like I told Talia, but she's like, I don't like spicy, so I can't. I wouldn't know how to make salsa. And she's like, just buy your fucking salsas that you like. And I was like, oh, all right.
God, trade her in. I mean, no.
It's just like, dude, you're killing me here, Smalls.
Yeah, dude.
Mm.
Tell your mom to give me her recipe. I'll fucking make that shit.
I'll tell her to give it to you.
Yeah, I'll make that. I'll keep that tradition going. I'll bring you some like.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
here you go, dude.
I'll tell her like what.
Does she do a green sauce too or no?
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah. That one's more with tomatillo though.
Yeah, I know that.
I don't know. It depends, like how spicy you want. It depends on how many like pepper strips.
Oh, dude.
And what kind of peppers.
Dude, the one when she makes the red sauce, dude, I love.
Yeah,
that shit.
that one.
I love
has
how
habanero.
it makes me want to pull my teeth out. I love it.
Oh, dude, with the fucking tamales. Though.
Yes.
You know what
I
I
know.
do? I like.
You know how I am with your mom's tamales, dude.
Well, here's the
Okay.
thing.
I ate how many that night?
Like fucking 24.
Yeah. I mean,
I ate 2 fucking dozen tamales, and they're not that big. I get it, but I'm like a dozen, and I'm like, oof, I overdid it. Here's the thing, though. When I eat tamales, like fresh tamales, not like fucking like, oh, I'm gonna put them on the pan and fucking Here's the thing. When you recook them, do you keep the leaf on?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
But when they're fresh, like out of the pot, and they're still like steamy and moist, and do some fucking salsa, some sour cream on there.
See, why'd you have to ask if I keep that on? You know how Mexican I am. All right?
Sorry, I forgot.
I'm the most Mexican white person.
Yeah, it's just like I'm the most white Mexican person.
Yep.
Next to Tom Segura.
Oh, dude, I was having a conversation. Oh, who was I talking with?
It wasn't Garcia, was it?
No. No, I forgot who it was. We were talking about, like, just... like, we were talking about different foods and, like, from different areas and everything else. And... oh, it's somebody that I work with now. And we were talking about different things, and I kind of was I was kind of, like, feeling him out on, like, if I could talk about this topic or not.
This is somebody you knew or no?
I met at work.
Okay, so it's kind of like you did, but you're kind of getting a feel for them. Okay,
Like we had a conversation, we talked here and there, but
you were getting to know this person.
yeah,
I got you.
and we were having conversations about different topics and everything else, and we brought up food. And they look at me, and these people are of ethnic descents, we'll say. And they look at me and they think of me as like I don't know what like seasoning is for some reason.
Oh, they looked at you like you thought mayonnaise was spicy?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're sitting there and we're talking about food, and I'm listening to them bullshit because they think they know what they're talking about. And most of the time they were really off on the ways that they would put things together. And I'm just sitting there listening. And then I just start bringing up little hints of things. And I start talking to them about, different things as far as like different like things with like, collard greens or mustard greens, or how I would do this with a brisket or that with a brisket, or like chicken or ribs or pork shoulder and all this other kind of stuff. And then as I was talking about this, they started like kind of easing up on talking with me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I feel like I could tell you guys about this. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, well, so when I worked in the jail as a corrections officer way back then in like 2012. And they're like, okay. I'm like, what about? I'm like, I worked with a guy named Jackson and another guy named Smart. And that's their last names. I'm like, we had a game that we would play, How Black is Kyle? And they looked at me and they're like, what? I'm like, we had a game that we would play on how black I was. And I would name all the things that I like to eat compared to what black people like to eat. And we just kept on going back and forth, back and forth. And it got to the part where, like, Smart would look at me. He goes, bro, you're like an honorary black man with all the shit that you eat. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. And then I'm like, and I told him, like, honestly, I'm probably more Mexican than I am black, but I like it all.
Yeah.
And then I wrapped that around too, and I'm like,
better be careful with that. I'm more Mexican than Trump will get your ass deported too.
That's all right. But it was just one of those things where I'm like, yeah, I like doing this. I like cooking it this way. I like doing these things. And they're like, holy shit. They're like, man, that's fucking crazy. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, I know people who don't even have garlic powder in their house. Okay. I'm like, I have this, and this. That's just what goes on my steak before I fucking cook it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I gotta make this on the side, and then I gotta put this together to put on top. And they're like, wow. They're like, man, you do all that? I'm like, yeah.
Gotta eat.
I'm like, I actually take time and I put effort. I'm like, I make this with my chicken wings. I do this. I do that. And they're like, man. I'm like, yeah. When I smoked my pork shoulder, I was doing these things. And they're like, yeah, man, you're the wrong fucking color. I'm like, I guess so. I'm like, and the best part about it is I get called I'm racist because of the job I did.
Yeah. Well.
And then they apologized to me.
It happens.
That was the best. The best moment ever is my job in law enforcement.
Here's the thing, though. Like, as long as you know you're not racist, I think that's what counts. That's what matters.
Well, I look at it this way. I never thought about it. Like, where we grew up.
We grew up in a melting pot, dude.
Exactly. Like, and I feel like that's the biggest thing for me to relate with people is like, I was the minority where we grew up. In my neighborhood.
I wouldn't go that far, but
in my neighborhood,
was it predominantly Mexican?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like if 63rd Street was the boundary, everything north, so like 62nd Place Street, whatever, like that whole section where I grew up,
all the way to the tracks.
Yeah, up to 59th Street, that whole side was predominantly Hispanic. Like there was sprinkles of like white people through there, but yeah, it was predominantly Hispanic. And then everything south of 63rd Street was black.
Yeah.
for the most part while we were growing up.
Yeah.
It started changing later.
I was trying to correlate north and south, but yeah.
But like the high school back.
Yeah.
To the hood.
Yeah,
like
Argo.
Argo, like that was predominantly black.
Yeah.
And then you had the Summit area, which was like 59th Street to Archer, was predominantly like European, whatever, mixed.
That was a fucking huge move because you had
but it was a lot more.
You had Indian.
Yeah.
You had Arabian,
I meant it was a lot more.
That was a huge mixing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like you could throw a dart on a fucking global or globe.
Yeah.
Map and. Like, yep, there's probably some of that there.
But like the majority of my side of town was predominantly Hispanic or black.
Okay.
With white sprinkled in. And then when your area was a big melting pot too.
Yeah. Of crackheads. There was a lot of fucking junkies down there too.
Well, yeah, you had Under the Bridge, dude.
Yeah.
Then you had Peyton Place down there. You had all that shit, dude.
Well, I wasn't even that far in. That was like fucking Bubba, Jose.
Yeah.
Fucking Phil was down there for a while.
Oh god, dude! I remember the one time.
Did you hang out with Phil when he lived down there?
Yeah, dude. I remember there was one time I don't know if you were there.
You know, it's fucked up.
I don't know. Hang on, I need to tell you about this. See, I don't remember if you were there, or if maybe it was Jose. It might have even been fucking Butter. But we were down there, and I was at Phil's house or Phil's apartment.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
I was at Phil's apartment, dude. Yeah. And somebody was knocking on Phil's apartment, trying to talk to Phil, while somebody was breaking into his neighbor's house and moving their shit into another apartment in the same fucking apartment building. Like, they broke into the house, into the apartment, and it was like distracting Phil so that they could move the shit into the other apartment.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah. And then there was another one outside that had a U-Haul. They were like trying to move shit in, and when they would move it into one apartment, the other people would run in from across the street and take something and then bring it into their apartment.
Fucking wild, dude.
Yeah, dude.
That fucking place was wild. What, you go up one block and it wasn't that bad.
No, it was completely different.
Those,
actually, you go up 2 blocks, it was a completely different neighborhood. Almost.
Who are those two chicks that were like a year older than us? Anna and Davina. Do you remember those chicks?
Anna and Davina.
Yeah, Davina Deligi and Anna Osika.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna show you the ropes.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Okay.
Oh yeah. Anna Osika in
Davina.
Yeah, it was Davina. Yeah. Yeah, her brother was David. Yeah.
David Deligi. He was our age. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they lived down there too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they lived in those apartments down there.
Mm-hmm. Well, not down there.
No, they were
on that street,
yeah,
but like in
up higher,
in the posh part.
Yes, up in the nicer part.
Yes.
But then once you got like past the apartments into the houses, it was like a completely different area.
It was that shit stopped at Hanover, and then you got the houses.
Yeah.
It was like Dave Nag and Robert Rapp. And
yep.
Those dudes up there lived.
Anna and Yolanda Gutierrez.
Anna and Yolanda Gutierrez. I remember Yolanda Gutierrez.
Yeah, and her older sister Anna.
I don't remember her.
Yeah.
Maybe if I saw her.
And then you had, dude, there was so many people that lived over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a completely different neighborhood once you went past Hanover.
Yeah.
And then you went up a little bit further, and it was like another neighborhood.
Yeah, dude, it was like a neighborhood within a neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah.
I always tried to explain Summit to people, and they never understood it. I'm like, it's 1 square mile that has so much shit going on.
Dude, I remember...
And has so many different, things going on at one time.
Dude, now, when I hear, my nieces, they're like, oh, school got canceled because of snow. And I was like, oh, you don't know how good you have it. I was like, And I tell them, because my brothers didn't live the shit that I lived through
Mm-hmm.
here. I'm like, you don't know how good you have it. I was like, I used to walk through a fucking storm in
Yeah.
1.5 feet of snow.
Mm-hmm.
My 4 foot tall ass was a third of the, like, 1/4 of me, or 1/3 of me, was fucking walking through snow for a mile
Yep.
to get to that fucking high school.
Yeah. And you want to know the best part about that too?
You live to fucking across the street,
No, no, no,
asshole.
no. What I was gonna say, I was like, when you spent the night at my house, my parents drove you home. I
Uh,
always had to walk home if I stayed at your house.
oh, yeah, but you stayed at my house like a couple times. I stayed at your house all the time.
Dude, everybody stayed at my house though.
It was just like me and Phil and like Javier sometimes.
Yeah, but then like Myron lived at my house in high school.
Oh, that was later on though. That wasn't my era.
But then like with Phil, we always had to go fucking wake him up, dude. I had to walk past graves to go to his house to wake him up, and then come back to school.
Yeah, me and Chris would swing by his house and get him too. Be like, let's go get Phil. And walk those extra couple blocks.
That's the funny
I
thing.
had the longest haul.
Dude, that's the funny thing about that is when me and Lindsay were talking about that.
Mm.
I was like, yeah, because I'm like, I would tell her about. I'm like, yeah, I'd walk past graves, go over the bridge, go down, wake his ass up to go to school, and come back. And she goes, I did that shit for him when I was in fucking high school. I'm like, huh, isn't that fucking ironic?
You should have told her you only did it like a year. I don't know. She might have done it like a couple of years.
Yeah.
I didn't do that shit when I lived out here. He was always at school. I don't know. I had nothing to do with that. I would just be like, hey, dude, see you at school. All right. See you at school.
Yeah.
The funniest thing was when we saw fucking, when I saw Tony Bronsky. And I was walking down the hall, and he was walking down the hall. We're fucking like me mugging each other. Like, I know this fucking guy. And we're like, hey, he's like, what's up? Because he had those like fucking super long arms. Like his arms hung down to his fucking knees, dude. And he was all fucking skinny, and he fucking shaved his. Hey, look, he looked like fucking American History X Edward Norton, but like not jacked. He was just fucking skinny with fucking orangutan arms, like fucking hanging down to his knees. Oh yeah, it was me, him, and Phil were like, dude, we came from the hood. Not really, but you know, like compared to Plainfield kids, we were like,
compared to
we were
up
like,
there.
we were fucking hard.
Yeah.
We're like, we got scared straight. We went to the DARE program. So you don't know what that is. You never made the pledge.
Mm.
Do you remember the pledge?
No.
I vow to never do drugs.
Oh, is that when Katrina's dad taught the thing?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it her dad?
Yeah, it was her dad.
Wasn't he like a fireman?
No, he was a cop, dude.
Was he really?
He was a Cook County Sheriff's police officer.
Hmm.
No, he's actually a really good dude. I remember the one time when me and her like were dating, and he fucking like showed up by my house, and then he found out like who my dad was, and he's like, "Oh, that's your dad? Oh, all right, no big deal." And then we started like we didn't date after that, and he's like, "Oh, that's sad."
Yeah.
And then she just dated a whole bunch of losers after that.
She had to keep the trend going. Oh.
Well, she dropped off once she left me, so it just happens.
There you go. Nice recovery.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times, man.
Yeah.
Dude, we used to go to Bedford Park a lot
Well, yeah, dude. My sister lived there. So.
before that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like she
No, actually, no. My sister lived there when we were there. She was living there
when we were in high school.
when we were in eighth grade, and she was there in eighth grade.
Yeah, but we didn't really go that much.
I did.
Well, you did because she lived there.
Yeah.
But then we would like ride our bikes there. Like
Yeah.
me and Phil, I remember we'd be like, let's go.
Yeah, you guys would be going there and be like, "Hey, dude, I'm at my sister's
Yeah.
house. What are you guys doing? I'm getting fucked up at my sister's house."
We'd hang out in the little fucked up gazebo by the school.
Yeah, and I'm sitting in my sister's backyard, fucking drinking beer. I'm like, "Guys, just come over and have a beer."
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my sister's backyard having a good time.
We can't. We're fucking eighth graders, dude.
I'm like, "Yeah, so am I. I'm getting fucking plastered."
Yeah.
I think Katrina might come over here and let me see her boobs later, but she never
Jesus
did. But
Christ.
it's all right. Actually, that almost happened one time.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was You gonna sneeze?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just got an itch in my nose.
No, I always remember this because it was funny as shit.
One of the fucking craziest nights.
I know. I got to tell you this
Fun
because
night.
this is pretty funny. This is pretty funny. So, I was hanging out. It was me, uh, Wayne. Do you remember Wayne?
Wayne Bach.
I was trying not to use last names, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Wayne Bach?
No, it's just because you just don't want to put people's whole names out on blast on that.
There could be
And then-
another Wayne Bach out there.
And then there was Mike and Paul.
I'm not gonna use any names.
Okay, so the four of us were hanging out. And,
you, Wayne, Mike, and Paul.
yep, all the Bridgeview Garden guys.
Yeah.
We were hanging out, and we are just doing whatever. And for some reason, like, Katrina and Wayne were really good friends at that period of time. Like, they never, like, put it out there, but they just kind of secretly were because they knew each other for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, he's like, yeah, let's go over there and see what's going on at the house. So we're like, all right. We go over there. Her parents aren't home. They're having a party, whatever. And she's like fucking plastered, like really bad. And like she's talking to me, and like one of them goes off with her sister, who was like 13 at the time. Yeah. And that's all going on. And she's spinning around, acting all weird. So I'm like, all right, I'm like, hey, dude, come on.
She's all like, you spin me around.
No, like, but she was like spinning in a bad way. So I'm like, all right, dude. I'm like, come on, I'll bring you over to your room. Let's go. So I walk her up to her room I'm like, all right, you need to get to sleep. Just go to bed, whatever. We'll leave. We'll lock up the house, whatever. We'll take care of everything. Like, we have no reason to fuck anything up. Like, we're all cool with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then she, like, kind of makes her move. And then as she does that, you hear burp, burp. And it was fucking, oh, God, what's his name?
Kid or parent?
What was the dude that she dated in high school? Steve? Weimer.
Oh, okay.
It was him. She goes, oh, Steve's here. As she was, like, unbuttoning. I was like, oh, okay, well, I just want to make sure, all right, I'll leave you alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I just left, and he was like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, just making sure everybody's okay. But it was always funny. And I remember, like, seeing her years later, and I was telling her about that. She's like, yeah, that almost happened. I'm like, yeah, so glad it didn't.
Yep. Good times.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
Would you relive it all?
Knowing what I know now.
Oh, if you could go back with the
Well,
knowledge you have now, you'd
like,
be a fucking monster, dude.
No. I would
I would be.
I would subtract things, and I would change things around a little bit. I would kind of move pieces around a little bit more.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh, the shit's not checkers, it's chess.
Yeah, but not in like a bad way. Like
No.
I there's
You would just have that know-how of like, oh, things
all
are
right,
not going to be like this forever.
there would be there'd be two things that I would do differently.
Such as
I cannot talk about those.
off the air. We'll talk about
No,
that.
I consciously, wholeheartedly could never talk about those.
No.
And no, I'm being serious. If I talked about those, no, I wouldn't be able to bring those up. But there's two things that I would change specifically. Actually, you know what? No, I wouldn't change them. I wouldn't. I take that back. That would be selfish of me to change them, because that would be selfish at that specific moment. But I feel like that would have an impact on what I have now. It would drastically have an impact on what I have now.
That's just so you wouldn't risk what you
No, but I have to think about it that way. because it's all the building blocks that led to what is now. And I think those two things that I'm talking about, certain things wouldn't have happened. So, I wouldn't want that to not be there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if it didn't risk what you have now, kind of like Tony Stark with Snap. Like, I can't lose what I have now, even if we go back in time to undo the snap.
Yeah, I would just think that the two things that I'm talking about would be like
It would affect.
it would be good in the moment, but I feel like
oh, Steve's here, but we're not gonna answer the door. Oh,
yeah, like it would have been good at the moment for that to happen, but I feel like the end result would have altered a lot of things.
Yeah,
Especially one in particular.
No.
One in particular, I know it would. Because of the animosity that I've had from said person years later.
Oh, okay, no. Okay, I'm picking it up now.
So, like, that would have changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, yeah, but no at the same time.
Yeah. I'm picking up what you put.
And then the other one would have just been simply out of enjoyment, but that still probably would have changed a lot of things too.
You know what happened, but we're done.
Yeah.
So it's like it never happened.
So yeah, I mean, I want to say yes, but at the same time, I have to say no
Gotcha.
because of what I have now.
Yeah, of course.
And I would take what I have over anything from then.
So, having said that, there's a movie called About Time. I think it's About Time. It's got Rachel McAdams in it. It's about this dude. And it's got kind of like
you lost me at Rachel McAdams. I had to think about that for a second.
You're fantasizing.
Yeah.
You've seen
talking about going back in time.
You've seen The Butterfly Effect.
Yes.
So it's kind of like that, where this dude but it's not like morbid like that, where it's like the kid grew up all fucked up and like
going through all the torture.
Yeah, all that shit. It like none of that happens. This guy just realizes that he could go back to moments in time, and like he realizes that like all the men in his family can do this,
and
they can change things to prosper. And he's talking to his dad. His dad's played by Bill Knightley. I don't know how his name is pronounced.
Okay.
He's Victor from fucking Underworld.
Yeah.
That dude. And there's this moment. It's fucking heartbreaking, dude. Because he keeps going back to get with Rachel McAdams, and he does it until the point where he's like, because the first time he did it right, and when he found out he could go back in time, he fucked it up. So he had to keep going back and try to get her again, and he couldn't figure out how until he did. But it gets to a point where he's married with her and shit, and he has a kid. And after his kid's born, his dad dies. So he's like, oh, I want to go back and talk to my dad. So he goes back to talk to his dad, relives everything, but then he gets back to like present time, and the kid's different because it's a different sperm that made it to the egg.
Yeah.
So he's like, what the fuck happened? He's like, where's my baby? Blah, blah, blah. And he goes back again, talk to his dad, to a time where his dad was alive. And he's like, what the fuck happened? He's like, oh. He's like, yeah, you can't. He's like, why are you coming this far back to talk to me? He's like, oh, I know what happened. He's like, I died, didn't I? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, then I guess this is the last time we're going to see each other. It's fucking heartbreaking, dude. Because you have the power to travel back in time in your mind or whatever, and you still can't fucking, like, for his dad to say that shit, dude, I was like, and it's like a fucking shitty movie overall, but that fucking got me. I was like, Dude.
Huh.
Well, there's that aspect, and now that I'm a dad, I'm like, oh shit, like, if I could do that and I came back and Allison wasn't there, I'd fucking lose my shit.
Yeah.
It's just fucking... It's worth a watch.
Hmm.
Just to, like... So you know what I'm talking about? But... I don't think I would change anything if I could go back. Other than, like, I would invest in Bitcoin. Back in the early 2012s. And some Dogecoin when it was like 0.000005.
Yeah. Well, that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about high school moments.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would change anything. Like if I knew now if I knew then what I know now, I think I would be a little bit different, but I wouldn't change anything. Like I wouldn't be like I would know like, oh, like 20 years down the road, Kyle's still gonna be my friend and Phil's still gonna be my friend, and the guys that I hang out with at this point in time, they'll be my friends, but they'll be more like acquaintances.
Yeah.
You know, like the guys that I grew up with are these two dudes, and I'm still gonna talk to them 20 years down the road. So that would add like some value to that, and I would fucking like cherish it more at that time. Not to say that I don't cherish it now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying now I see the value in those friendships that I didn't see it then as much because you're young and dumb, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't put myself so much out there with the ladies because I'd be like, yeah, these bitches ain't worth it. I'd be like, come at me, bro. It ain't gonna happen for you. Can have some fun, but that's about it.
I'll joke around about something off air. I will not disclose that anywhere that's recorded what I was about to say. I have something just kind of funny just sitting in the back of my mind that I'm like, oh, you would live this moment, trust me. I know you would.
Is it something that happened to me or to you?
No, it happened to me.
Oh.
And
I probably would.
Oh no, dude, you'd be all about it, dude. You'd be.
That's what I'm saying though. Like the shit that I went through too, I wouldn't change it.
What happened to me? Well, not what happened to me. What was a job that was done to me in high school?
Yeah.
At the school.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
While I was doing a radio show.
Hey, this one time at band camp?
Yes, dude. She was in band too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, let's narrow it down and just say it, dude. I know what you're talking about.
She was a woodwind player. I think she played clarinet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took homecoming pictures with her.
Yeah, you did.
That was before though.
Before
that happened.
Her house had a heated basement floor. She was a very nice girl.
Yeah.
Very nice girl.
Well, she sparked a lot of jealousy that helped. Didn't really help me, but it helped me like emotionally.
Yeah.
Because it was like emotional payback for me.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. That was fucking good. I was like, that's right, bitch.
Yeah.
That was yeah, that's how that feels, cunt.
Yeah, well, oh man. Those were some good times.
So thank you to that nameless soul
that's
still out there.
I appreciate that one too,
but
for way different reasons.
And does good jobs and good jobs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
Oh yes.
You
nameless soldier, you will go up like a star on the
CIA board.
Yes,
the ones that the CIA praise for their sacrifice.
Star.
Yes, she definitely has a star up there.
You are up there. You hero, you.
Oh, yeah.
You want to try the blue for this one?
Sure. But yeah. Sorry. Reminiscing on a job well done.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
That one was a trooper.
Oh, yeah. She swallowed her pride.
Oh, no. It wasn't swallowed.
Oh, really?
It was
Come on, dude.
It was.
I teed you up.
Oh
and you
no,
fucked
dude!
it up, dude.
It was a mouthful, just all over the place. And then she found a bottle, and yeah, it was good.
Should have told her it's protein.
No.
Oh
She
my
was.
god.
She was such a nice girl.
She was.
She would know,
She
and
still
I know
is,
honestly,
probably.
I'm sure she probably is.
Mhm.
But I have to say at the time, she was a really nice person, and I did have some really meaningful conversations with her when we were growing up, and she went through a lot of rough stuff at home, and no, she was actually legitimately a really nice person.
Yeah.
I'm just benefiting out of that generosity of kindness.
You monster.
Hey, I had somebody mad at me for no reason. Well, actually, no. Her dad was pretty mad at me. But anyway, I mean, I didn't do anything wrong.
You gave your daughter a mouthful of spunk, dude. I say that's reason enough.
I mean, she wanted
I
it.
hope you have a daughter.
No.
Yes. Yes.
First of all,
First of all, yes. Second of all, hell yes. Third of all, pretty sure Colleen would agree with me that yes.
well, she wants a daughter.
Yeah,
Yes.
you deserve a daughter.
I do not want a daughter.
In more ways than one.
I don't want a daughter just because I don't want to. After watching Landman, I don't want my daughter to be attractive.
You perv.
No, not because of that part. I'm talking about because
You don't want to have to deal with all that bullshit.
because of the sexual things that come from that.
Yeah. But
Like,
you
I don't
just-
want to have to deal with that. That's not being a
Well,
pervert. That's just being a protective father.
You just have to
you
teach
know.
her good values.
You
That's
know,
all that is.
that's just the lesson of like, oh, Daddy, don't worry. I tell him not to come in me, but come everywhere on me. It's like,
It's like, I'm
don't
going-
fucking tell me that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go fucking shoot this guy.
I'm going to Bible study.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing where it's like, baby girl, we had to teach you some values.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. So having this conversation off air.
We know who we're talking about. Here's to you, nameless trooper.
Good old J.
H. Jesus Christ. How did I fucking know? Oh my god, this is so good.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
So worth calling you out. Just saying. I know you're probably not listening, but if you were, it's calling you out.
that was very vanilla forward.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Have a good night, and sorry for all the innuendos and all the secrecy, but
Yep.
if you know us, you get it. Have a good night. Good night. See you next time.